Welcome to the feature interview here on Emory and Henry Reports. Today we have Dr. Rosalind Reichard, the president of Emory and Henry College. Dr. Reichard was elected president in 2006. This past weekend was homecoming weekend here at the college. Glad to have you on the set. We had the dedication of the Alumni Plaza. Can you talk about how that event turned out?
We had a great crowd there to help celebrate the dedication of the Alumni Plaza. It was a beautiful sunny day, as you know, and it was a time to celebrate alumni past, present, and future. It was a time when we were talking not only about the 4 alumni who had been inducted, so to speak, in the plaza, but really talking about how they can inspire our current students to achieve later on. So it worked out very well. I think everyone was pleased.
The weather turned out, we were worried about it being a little cold or perhaps a little rainy. There's 4 people on the wall, is that correct? Can you talk about some of the people and how they got put on the wall?
Be happy to. The process of selecting the individuals that are honored in the plaza really rested with the trustees who were looking at how we could make sure that we were recognizing only the very best in terms of their accomplishments and the impact they've had on the world. And so the trustees put together a process, and one of the requirements is that the individual has to be deceased to make sure, again, that this is someone whose entire life would be something that we would all aspire to achieve. And the 4 individuals are basically individuals that graduated in the 1800s as well as the 1900s. Amazing achievements. Each one of them is a unique individual. I certainly could go through each one of the 4, but I think it's probably best if you go to that plaza and read about the accomplishments of those 4 alumni.
Which is located in the middle of campus.
Right in the middle of campus.
Right across from the chapel. If you could take the current alumni now that we had come back in attendance to that on a trip, and you would be their host, where would you take them and why?
Where would I take them? Well, first of all, I would take them right to the duck pond, because that's the area that I hear about the most. And I'd want to take them there so that I could hear the stories that they might tell about their experiences on campus. It's often that I hear about how an individual alumnus met their spouse, their future wife or husband, or they'll tell me about how they went to the duck pond to listen to a certain person speak about something that was going on the campus, certainly in the 60s when there was a lot of excitement on campus and a lot of different causes that folks were talking about. So that's probably where I'd take them so that I could hear some of the stories they could tell me about their experiences on campus.
What's your favorite experience so far on the campus of Emory and Henry College? My
favorite experience on the campus, gosh, there's just so many. Probably, you know, I'd have to go back to the day that we celebrated the fact that I was president of the college in the inauguration, and just the outpouring of love that I feel that day from the alumni. It was another beautiful day. We were very fortunate, and actually it's exactly, let's see, 3 years ago, because it happened in 2007 in September. So that particular day was, of course, very special to me, and more than anything, it was the outpouring of affection that I felt from the alumni, from the students, from the friends of the college that were there, it's hard to recreate that because what's so remarkable at Emory and Henry, of course, is the tremendous passion with which folks care about the place.
Absolutely. What is something unique about you that you can share with our viewers that would surprise students to learn about you?
Well, I have to tell you, I just have a new grandchild that was born this past week, but I won't go into that and brag and show you pictures. One of the things that I can remember telling a couple of folks that, you know, it was brought back to me a few times and I wondered about it, but I grew up really just so much in love with horses and wanted to be a cowgirl. So it's something I've dreamt about for so long, and so I was able to go to a dude ranch and ride horses, and I think it probably surprised folks that that's something that's been a dream of mine for a long time. In fact, one of the gifts my husband gave me on our first Christmas was a pair of toy 6-shooters, because I talked with him so much about how much I loved horses and wanted to be a cowgirl. So that might surprise some of the students out there.
Is there a possibility that we could see some horses on or near campus? I know VI has an equestrian program.
Well, I don't know that we're going to have horses on our campus. We certainly have farmland around, and you see the cows, and you know the stories of the cows. You know, we do have a lot of students that certainly have horses at different places that they ride, but I don't know that we have any immediate plans for an equestrian program, but certainly know that there are horses around. This is horse country. There's a lot of them around campus.
We want to congratulate you on the birth of your grandchild. Yeah. Do you have any ideas on what you're going to be called or what you would like to be called as a grandmother?
Well, it's interesting you would ask that question, because my son asked me that, and I said, well, Grandma, because that's what I thought it would be. And perhaps I didn't think about it deeply enough, because he said, "Are you sure you don't want to think about it some more?" But I actually think my granddaughter will call me by whatever she chooses to call me when she's able to say whatever she says. But I suspect it'll be something like Grandma. And, you know, it's just a wonderful feeling to have a granddaughter. I have 2 sons, and so now I have a daughter, a granddaughter, and I have a daughter-in-law, but it's just wonderful to have a little girl in the family.
That's awesome. What did you call your grandmother? Did you have a special name for her?
I called her Grandma. I really did. And my grandmother didn't speak English. Actually, my background is both of my grandparents emigrated here from Italy, so it was, you know, I called her Grandma, but it was interesting communicating with her. And I did learn a lot of Italian when I was growing up, because that's the language she spoke.
Okay. Do you have any pointers for the freshmen here on college, any wisdom that you would like to share?
Well, of course, you know that I have dinners with the freshmen each fall and have time to get to know them a little bit and try to provide some advice. I think the most important thing that that I certainly shared with them when I meet with them is to really connect with the faculty. That's the most important thing. To reach out to them, and they'll reach out to you. And if you you know, find that special faculty member, staff member that cares about you, that person will always be there to support you and provide you with the strength you need to succeed. I also tell them to seek diversity, and I always go through that too. And by that I mean try some new things. Try some things you haven't tried before. You know, join an organization that you've never thought you might join. Start up a new organization. Take a class. I always tell them, I'm a math teacher. Maybe you want to take a math class. But try something that you wouldn't always think about taking when you were in high school. So those are the things I usually try to tell them to do.
You have the freshmen over for the dinner. Do you have any other events at your house for students throughout the year?
We do. We always have a Christmas party, and I want to invite you all to come to that Christmas party, because usually it's hard to get students to come up there for the Christmas party because you're usually just beginning your study for exams, and it's hard to take a break, but it's a great time to take a break. So I always do have a Christmas party for students, and hope that you'll come up at that time. And there are other times during the year when we have guests on campus, you know, maybe a guest speaker, and we always have students come with that guest speaker, usually related to the speaker, the topic, and what the students are studying. So there are students up at the house quite a bit.
I've been up there myself, and I can vouch that the food is delicious. You also have an elevator.
That's true, an elevator, yes.
Which not a lot of people know about.
Not a lot of people know about, and we try not to let you get caught in that elevator. It's pretty safe, I think.
Well, it was working when I was there. I want to thank Dr. Reichard for coming on. We want to thank all the alumni that have donated. We also want to make sure that we encourage to go look at the Alumni Plaza at the wall, which is down there. We're going to keep things going, and we're going to throw on to something else on the show.